The first of three races in the round of 16 is complete, with Clint Bowyer coming out on top of the field in Las Vegas to clinch a spot in the round of 12. Kyle Busch and Martin Truex Jr. were a part of some early playoff drama after Busch was forced to start in the rear of the field and Truex DNF'd after crashing hard into the outside wall in the final stage. Gary Owen comes into Richmond 30 points above the cut line, but says he's still concerned due to his recent struggles at the track.
Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new episode of NASCAR Heat 3 Career Mode. Today we have the second race of the first round of the playoffs in Richmond, as well as a quick recap of Hailie Deegan's effort in Canada for the first race of the Truck Series playoffs, which is a home track for my team. Obviously we are based in Canada, being that I'm from Canada, and Hailie Deegan started P3 in this race and already was showing quite a bit of speed throughout this weekend as she started alongside the 18 of Noah Gragson and quickly got clear of him behind Brett Moffitt and the leader of Matt Crafton, and she came into this race 5 points out of the cut line, and she immediately got up to P2 behind Brett Moffitt, and she wasted no time to catch Matt Crafton, and on a late race restart she was able to actually pass him for the lead in turn 1, and she immediately just drove away from Crafton as she came into the next corner. She actually went a little bit wide in this corner here in the next corner, but she was able to hold on to the number 1 position and drive away as we now come to the last lap of this race. You see she has a considerable lead coming into the final few corners now into the last left-hander. Not going to be the exciting finish we always get in Canada, but as she comes through the last corner, Hailie Deegan will get her second career win, and it's an important one. It locks her in to the next round, which is the round of 6. So she will now guaranteed have a chance to make the final 4 round once we get past Talladega. So certainly a great finish for her. Second win for my team. Second win for Hailie Deegan herself. So things are starting to look up, and we might be moving her up to a new team next season. But stay tuned for that one, as Xfinity plans may be on the rise for myself when it comes to starting a team for that series. But there's a first place trophy. Not a very nice trophy, but we got a blue stripe on the truck now to signify that we are in the playoffs as Hailie Deegan celebrates the victory here in Mosport. So awesome finish for us, and that's exactly what we needed. But now it's time to shift a bit of our focus towards the cup race for myself going into Richmond, a track that I never really run very good at. So we have a 30-point gap over the cut line, and we're going to need these 30 points because this is a track, like I said, I struggle at a lot. So we're probably not going to have a very good race. Hopefully we can get a top 20 out of Richmond, but we're going to see what happens now. As you see, Clint Bowyer already locked into the next round as Hailie Deegan in the Truck Series locked in, and then Almirola, he's 18 out, and Trevor Baynes in last in the playoff standings. He's quite a ways out, can't see his name there, but he is currently last, and Kyle Busch and Truex had troubles last race, and they currently fight for the last position in the playoffs right now as we come into Richmond for our qualifying attempt. Coming through turns 3 and 4, we made it to the final session, which is something I've never done, but we've done quite a bit lately. We come through to set a 20.676. As we come through turns 1 and 2, I decided, you know what, let's give it another go. But as we come out of turn 2, we go way wide and get into the wall, so I immediately call the lap there, and we qualify P6 in Richmond, which is an amazing start for myself as we get ready to start this race here in Richmond for the second playoff race of round 1.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Richmond Raceway for the running of the Federated Auto Parts 400. Tonight we make our final stop at this 3/4 mile short track in Henrico County, Virginia. In previous years, this event marked the end of the regular season. But tonight, the stakes are even higher. A win at America's premier short track could move one of these drivers into the round of 12. With the unfamiliar Roval up next on the schedule, expect our contenders to really push to advance tonight. The NASCAR playoffs are in full swing, so let's go racing.
Martin Truex Jr. starts on the pole, and we are ready to go green here in Richmond. Ryan Newman gave up qualifying position for new tires, so he will be going to the rear of the field. Gray Gaulding starting in a backup car after crashing in qualifying, and DJ Kennington has an engine change, so he will be starting in the back as well. So no playoff drivers sent to the back in this race, as Martin Truex Jr. and Clint Boyer, who won the last race in Las Vegas, are ready to lead us to the green as the green flag flies, and the second race of the playoffs is underway, right away getting to the back bumper of the 2 of Brad Keselowski as we go into turn 1 alongside the 4 of Kevin Harvick, running that outside line, likely going to fade back fairly quickly here as Clint Boyer leads our line. He drifts back to P3 immediately as we come into turns 3 alongside the 48 of Jimmy Johnson as he gets clear of me, allowing Eric Almirola in the 10 Smithfield Ford to get past me. As well as we come across the line, we lose a couple positions on the start, but we immediately look to the inside of Almirola into turns 1 and 2. Certainly a pretty solid start for us, better than I was expecting as we make a little bit of contact on his left rear as he kind of chops my nose a little bit, but I stick my nose in anyways and keep myself on the inside of Almirola as we come through to complete the second lap of this race with Chase Elliott now behind me in the number 9 car. Obviously he's doing well in the playoffs after a great run in Las Vegas as we look to the inside of the second place starter Clint Boyer down the back straightaway into turns 3. Should be able to get ahead of him now as we do easily clear him going into turns 3 as we exit turn 4 to get up to P4 or P6 now as we cross the line, and we pretty much kind of stayed around this position throughout this whole stage. Now as we come out of turn 2 on lap 5, just not really able to get anywhere, but we have Chase Elliott and Joey Logano currently right behind us as Martin Truex Jr. leads over Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick, Jimmy Johnson, and Brad Keselowski as we hit 19 to go in the stage, and we just pretty much rode around trying to run down the 2 of Keselowski as we come down the back straightaway, starting to get a little bit loose there on the exit of the corners, but not much has changed. As you can see though in the back, Joey Logano, he did get past Chase Elliott as Elliott started to drift back, but we started to slowly close in on Keselowski throughout this run. Now as you can see, he's getting a little bit bigger in my camera now as we come to lap 13. We're just slowly reeling him in as we come through turns 3 and 4. And this first handful of laps in this stage was certainly giving me a lot of confidence. This is the best I have ever run. I put in a new setup in Richmond, and this is easily the best we have run in Xfinity and Cup at this racetrack, so we might actually have something to contend today. I'm starting to get a little bit loose, and that's one thing that was slightly concerning me. On the long run, we're getting a little bit loose, and we're getting looser the longer we go, but we still continue to close the gap on Keselowski now down the back straightaway. Coming to lap 20, we have a car smoking up ahead, and it's going to be Brendan Gaughan in the 62 as we're right on the back bumper of Keselowski as we come out of 2. Gaughan's going to come down the track and hit Keselowski, and we hit him in the back bumper, and around Keselowski goes down the back straightaway, and that's going to bring out a caution. That was certainly not what I expected to have happen, but no one's going to pit, so we're going to stay out as Keselowski hangs on to P8, at least for him, so he still can get some stage points. He's obviously a playoff contender, not what he needed, and I'm going to assume he's got to at least have a fairly significant amount of damage as we get ready to go green. It's going to be actually a one-lap dash to the end of the stage as the green flag waves. Truex leads us to the green flag with Kyle Busch on his outside as we come into turn 1, pushing the 4 for a brief moment with Eric Almirola in the number 10 behind us. He is in need of a good run now as he comes into this race, 18 points behind the cut line down the back straightaway though, alongside the 48 of Jimmy Johnson as we go into turns 3 and 4 for the final time in the stage. Martin Truex Jr. comes out the leader. He will win the stage as we get a little bit loose, but we're going to hang on to P4 in stage 1, so a very solid run for us as Keselowski, he ends up finishing P10 in stage 1, so he did still make himself get into the top 10 and get a stage point, at least for him. So certainly not a lost cause for that 2 team, as they actually do not have to pit for any damages, so good for them now as we get ready to go green in stage 2 as Martin Truex Jr. leads us to the green flag to start the second stage, immediately getting on the back bumper of Harvick, trying to push him ahead, obviously starting on this outside line. I don't want to be back up here. We're going to drift backwards if we stay on this outside line. Obviously it can work towards the midfield and backfield, you can make that outside line work pretty easily on restarts, but not up here with the faster cars as we come through turns 3 and 4, allowing the 48 to pass me. Now as Denny Hamlin looks to my inside as well as he gets clear. I let off the throttle just a little bit so I can get in behind him to make sure I can get to the inside line as Martin Truex Jr., he leads just over Kyle Busch, as Kyle Busch yet to get a win this season. Him and Truex currently fighting for the last position in the playoffs at the moment now as we look to the inside of Harvick on the exit of turn 4, trying to get back into the top 5 now as we cross the stripe to complete the second lap of the stage to mark 20 to go in stage 2 as we now clear Kevin Harvick to take over P5 behind Denny Hamlin in the 11 car. So certainly a good run here that we have going, but like I said, the longer we are out on these tires, I'm noticing the car's getting a lot looser now as we come to lap 13. You see the top 4 cars have actually pulled away from me now down the back straightaway. I was just starting to lose that grip in the car and I couldn't quite keep up with these guys as Truex continued to lead these 3 cars just ahead of him as Eric Almirola now sits behind me in P6 with just 9 laps to go in stage 2 at this point. And we get a caution. I'm not sure what the caution was for, but it's going to cause once again a late stage restart now as we're going to be restarting with just a handful of laps to go in stage 2 behind the 48 of Jimmy Johnson and P3 and the 78 of Truex will lead us to green, and the green flag is back out. And you see just in my mirror how much damage Keselowski has. I'm not sure how he's able to continue to run in the top 10, but as we go into turns 1 and 2 alongside the 10 of Eric Almirola, we got a lot of Stewart Haas cars around us as usual. That's been really a big thing this season. They have always been in the top 10, especially around me for some reason as we look to the inside of Denny Hamlin in turns 3 and 4, trying to get up to 4th now as we come across the line to complete the first lap since we start 5 to go in stage 2. Now approaching the back bumper of Kyle Busch in the 18 as we just about get into the back of him. I had to really get onto the brakes to avoid him as we slid into turn 1 now as our teammate Jamie McMurray, he approaches my back bumper as he's been having a few good runs lately. He had a good run in Las Vegas. I think Darlington, he ran pretty well as well as he now looks on my left rear and actually hits me in the left rear as we keep clear of him for the moment and almost hit Kyle Busch again as I slide right into the corner, just about taking him out. But I'm going to play defense mode on our teammate McMurray as we go into turn 3, trying to hang on to whatever position I can as he is right on our back bumper as we exit turn 4. And I took a wide exit, and that allowed McMurray to get to my inside line. And even though he's a teammate, he is not held back from pushing the issue on me in these last 2 races as we get really loose on the exit of turn 2, allowing McMurray to clear me as we fade in behind him just in front of Eric Almirola now, sitting in P5 as we come across the line to take 2 to go. And now Almirola is able to get to my inside, and this is the problem that we've had in past Richmond races. I just could not hold the bottom, and the longer I'm out on these tires, I'm getting looser and I can't hold the bottom like I have been able to early in this race. And you're certainly seeing it play dividends now as I'm losing positions after positions now as Alex Bowman comes through to pass me as we take the white flag in stage 2. We should be able to hold on to P7 at least as we get sideways going into the corner, just about hitting the 88 in the right side, but we come out of turn 2 very sideways again down the back straightaway. But we are going to likely hang on if we can get through this final few turns without any issues as Martin Truex Jr. will win stage 1 and now win stage 2 as we get P7 in the stage. So still certainly better than what we usually do here, so I couldn't complain too much now as we end the stage. Everyone's going to be pitting, and I know I can't take 4 tires because I would lose way too much track position, so I decided we're going to take probably 2 tires here, and obviously we're going to take 2 cans of fuel, and hopefully that will be enough to bring the grip back in this car that we needed, as well as hopefully a better last stage for us as we lose 1 position on pit road because Corey LaJoie gained 9 spots. He must have taken no tires, but now we restart on the outside line as Truex leads us to the green flag, and the final stage in Richmond is underway. Just 48 laps till the end of this race now as we race alongside the 72 of LaJoie. He's going to pull ahead as we try to get to the back bumper of Alex Bowman, getting loose already out of turn 2, and that was immediately concerning to me, knowing that the car is still loose without the two left side fresh tires, and this is going to probably be a problem as we get loose out of turn 4, hitting the 11 of Hamlin as we come down the front straightaway going into turns 1 and 2, side by side with Denny as we come through the center of the corner, trying to edge out in front of him now as we come out of turn 2, sideways into the 11 car. We go way down the track as he's smoking. As we come into turn 3, he's going to get sideways again, and he's going to hang on to the car with a huge save, but he's going to lose many positions from my situation as I'm just struggling at this point to hang on to the car, still in P8, but it has turned into a complete disaster very quickly here in Richmond as we come out of turn 2. You see just how hard it is to hang on to the car as we go under the yellow line trying to save the car from crashing, and we do save it from crashing, fortunately for the moment, as we come out of turn 4, just struggling. I've never struggled this hard as we get into the grass on the exit of turn 4, and this is insane to drive this thing as we were coming through turns 1 and 2, just over 40 laps to go, and I very well feel like taking 2 tires was a mistake. Now as we quickly drift back through the field as Denny Hamlin has run me down now after we just had an incident with him, and this is the first time we came out of a corner without just about spinning out. But as the run went on, I just could not hang on to this car very well, and we quickly drifted back as we get loose through the center of the corner and get onto the apron, but are able to hang on to the car for a brief moment. And as we come through turns 3 and 4 on the exit of 4, Elliott and Hamlin battle side by side as we come across the line. We still have 43 laps to go, and that's when, you know, I noticed immediately we have a big problem. We got to go 43 laps, and I'm already wrecking loose. So we're going to have to just either hope for a caution so we can come in to take 4 tires, or we're going to just have to give up a lot of time. And I was forced to pretty much back my pace out to the point where I lost many positions as we drifted back really towards almost the 30s as it's at P29 now on lap 67. You see how loose the car is now with damage on the right front, just turning into a terrible race as we come into turns 1 and 2. Barely able to hold on to the car at this point, and I finally just could not hang on anymore as we come out of turn 2 just completely spinning out, and that would bring out a caution as we got hit by the 96 and the 24. Now as Kyle Busch leads this race, we have a great view of his front bumper, but we're going to have to come into pit to fix the car and put 4 tires on the car because this has turned into a complete disaster for myself and this team. But fortunately, we have a 30-point buffer coming into this race, so this isn't going to be the end of the world for me. If this was the second round or the third round of the playoffs, the round of 12 or the round of 8, we would probably be in trouble, but right now we can afford to have one race with this problem happening. So I wasn't really concerned. More or less I was disappointed because we had such a good stage 1 and 2, and we know we have speed, and now that we got 4 fresh tires on the car, we might be able to work our way back forwards. But clearly right now we only have 28 laps to go, so there's likely a low chance of getting back into a top 10 position unless maybe we can get towards the top 20 and then get a caution. But now as we work our way around these guys, passing the 24 of William Byron, now trying to get around the 23 Gray Galding, sorry, but we're really able to make this third line work when we're in the back of the field, and that's really the only way to go around these guys. In Richmond, in the back, you just have to use the outside as much as you can because the bottom's so hard to get anywhere with the slow cars. Now as we look to the inside of the 13 for a brief moment, but he cuts me off, so I decide, okay, we'll just stay in line behind you for the moment now as we come out of turn 4, hitting lap 75, so just 26 laps to go at this point in the race, running out of time quickly as we make that outside continue to work as we come through turns 1 and 2 on the exit of 2 behind the 17 of Stenhouse, now getting on his back bumper as we let off the throttle for a moment now as we come to lap 81 with 20 to go, working our way up to P27 behind the 12 of Ryan Blaney. So certainly working our way forwards, as really if we get a top 30 in this race we're going to be fine points wise, so I'm not too concerned once we are now in the position we're in. We're just trying to gain as many spots as we can just to, I don't know, just make myself happy, I guess. Now as we come into turns 1 and 2, still behind Blaney. Now as we come into turn 2 on lap 83, still behind him. Couldn't really get around him. Now as we come into turns 3 and 4, really struggling at this point to pass him as we get into the back of him through the center of 3, and not what I wanted to do. Now as we come to lap 84, looking to the inside of Bubba Wallace now, trying to get a pass made on him, so we at least get ourselves up to P24 and starting to get loose again as we have smoke up ahead and someone's blowing up now as we have a huge cloud of smoke, and I'm not sure what's going on as we come into the center of the corner and the 3 cars in my way, and that's going to be a huge hit on the front end as I had no idea that Austin Dillon was even sitting there. I came into turns 3 and it was just a huge cloud of smoke. 2 cars went spinning and Austin Dillon was sitting in the big cloud of smoke, and I chose to go to the middle line, and I did not realize until maybe about a second and a half before I hit him that he was sitting right in front of my face, and we drove right into him. Unfortunately, now as we have 13 laps to go, sitting P38, as we have 2 cars DNF'd at this point, one of them being Austin Dillon. Now as we use that far outside line to work our way forwards, as obviously this being an even bigger setback at this point in the race. This final stage has turned into a complete disaster for me as we come out of turn 4 to cross the line alongside the 96 of DJ Kennington into turn 1, just really trying to get back into that top 30. If we can do that, then we aren't going to be very disappointed, but certainly a little bit disappointed at the same time, because we had such a good run going for us, and this final stage has turned into a complete disaster. Obviously, taking 2 tires was the worst call we made of the day. Now as we come into turns 1, hitting the wall now with 11 laps to go, and we just continue to work my way forwards for the rest of these final few laps as we battle alongside Reed Sorensen and Ross Chastain and Ty Dillon. As we go into turns 3 now, is the 24 and the 43 and Ryan Blaney all battle 3 wide up ahead as we cross the line, sitting P31 with 10 to go, and we worked our way up. By the time we hit 5 to go, we worked our way up to P24, so certainly in a position good enough to get the points we need. As we look to the inside of Kevin Harvick, who he was a part of that last caution, so he's not having a good race now at the end here as we get into the back of him in turns 3 and 4 to exit the corner, holding off AJ Allmendinger with 4 laps to go, just trying to bring this car home as we try to find a way around this line of cars, a very slow line of cars, as we have a chance to go to the outside, getting a little bit loose now on the exit of turn 2, and obviously that's been a problem we've dealt with since really the last stage has started, as we're now alongside the 4 of Kevin Harvick, working the car up the track, trying to make sure we don't lose too much grip as we cross the line to hit 3 laps to go, just trying to get around as many cars as we can before this thing is over, making a little bit of contact with the right rear of Harvick as we come down the back straightaway now, looking into turn 3 as he pushes up the track just a tiny bit, and I thought I was going to turn right into him as we come out of turn 4 to hit 2 laps to go in this race. I'm not sure who's leading at this point, but now as we come into turns 1 alongside the 38 of David Reagan, trying to maybe even get a top 20 out of it if we can get past this 38 as we come down the back straightaway to take the white flag this time by coming into turns 3 alongside the 24 now of William Byron, certainly making this outside work much further up the field than I anticipated as we take the white flag now clear of David Reagan as we go into turns 1, but I'm still going to run the top anyways as we try to get past William Byron for P21 down the back straightaway out of turn 2, just about clear of Byron as we come into turn 3 for the final time alongside the 31 and Newman, trying to get into the top 20, but it's not going to happen as we come out of turn 4. We will finish P21 in Richmond right behind Ryan Newman. Certainly a decent rebound considering how this final stage went, and this is actually where we finished in the spring Richmond race, so we didn't finish worse than what we did before here, but certainly we should have finished better. Now as Kyle Busch gets his first win of the season and locks himself in to the round of 12 as Eric Almirola got a second place finish, which will certainly help him out going into the Roval, which is the elimination race. And there you see it, the playoff grid. Chase Elliott is now 4 points out, Suarez 7 out, Trevor Bayne 20 out, and Ryan Blaney 21 out. So Blaney certainly in a tight situation. Trevor Bayne, we don't really have any hope for him. But Paul Menard, he's sitting pretty good, 18 points to the good. And there we are, 29 to the good. So we only lost 1 point in this race. So certainly the playoff points and have really helped me out, as well as a good stage 1 and 2 finish really pay dividends here as we have some messages.
Don't worry about that last race. It happens. Just stay positive and keep focused.
Wise words once again from Austin Dillon. We've been getting those all season as we have pretty good messages other than Eric Almirola, who thinks we should be suspended, so we're going to provoke him. I'm not sure why he said that. I don't really remember getting into him, but maybe we did at some point in the race. But next episode, we will have Hailie Deegan's recap in Las Vegas for her, as she's locked in, so she doesn't even have to worry going into this next race and Talladega, so she's good for those 2 races. And now as you check our reputation, we are pretty close still to being rivals with Kyle Busch and Chase Elliott, somewhat close with Johnson and Stenhouse. But if we can keep them from being rivals for the rest of the season, I'd be very happy with that, as Hailie Deegan There it is, advanced into the next round as we look at the Cup Series picture. Blaney's the last car in, but obviously you don't see it right now. But if you guys enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe, like, and comment. Those would all be incredibly appreciated, more than you guys know. And I'd like to thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch one of my videos. And I will see you guys in the next one. We're going to decide who makes a round of 12 in the new Charlotte Roval, a track that I'm very excited for. I've run very well there in the past, so I think we can maybe pull a top 5, yeah, at least a top 10 day out of there. So I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching, and everyone have a great day.